Hey everyone, it's Donna Apperson. I am here to talk to you today about your spouse is not your enemy and let you know you're destined for greatness. So, I just wanted to share that there was some points in our life earlier in our marriage that one particular time I remember getting really, I could smile about it now, but it wasn't at the time. It was actually quite embarrassing. But Scott and I were arguing, and I actually threw a jar at him, and it hit our wall, and it missed him. But I made a mess, and I was really frustrated. And hey, and it was just really humiliating, and it was a beginning of many struggles that we are to have later. So I just wanted to let you know that God really has a purpose for unity in your marriage, and a lot of times we feel like there's competition between us, and that's not the way He designed it. So the truth is, if you go searching for it, there's several tips out there. I wanted to give you just some thoughts that may have worked for me. So you want to remember that you're on the same team. Lots of times it feels like a war when we're arguing with our spouse, but you're not. So what I try and do, and I know it's hard when you get caught up in the moment, but sometimes you need to take a time out and step away. And I try and find something positive about my spouse. And I don't feel like it in the moment, but a lot of times I'll just ask God to help me think of some things to get my mind right. So it's all about your mindset. And the second thing is embrace your differences and let them be growth opportunities. So it's really no fun to have a spouse that's exactly like yourself. We want somebody that's different. The church is made up of different people because we all have different responsibilities and callings in our life. So we all have to work together. So the way we do this is that way we just embrace our spouse's differences. And so that's not always an easy thing to do. But if you trust him in the process, it will. So some of the things I try and do when I'm really frustrated with Scott, and I know this is going to sound really crazy, but it's taken me a long time to get there, is I have to take a time out, and then I just have to ask God, like, what is it in me that you need to change to help this get better? Because most of the time, my thoughts are, I want to change him. So, but God has to change us so that way your spouse can see Christ in you. And ultimately, that does change them. It's usually a slow process, but it takes time to get there. The third thing is know that your adversary is not your spouse. I try and remind myself a lot in the midst of us arguing, but also afterward when things have calmed down, I'm like, we're on the same team. The real enemy is the enemy that's out there that's deceiving you, that drops those things in your mind that aren't really truth about your spouse, but you're letting your emotions get in the way. And so it just clouds your judgment. And then the fourth thing is try and act more like a teammate than an adversary. So men do better talking in sports. So sometimes I've talked to Scott, and this is funny, but he gets it when I say it like this. Like, if you're on a football team, you want to be the best that you can be. And so you work at your position and you work really hard so that when game day comes, you're just going to go out there and you're going to kill it. So are we willing to do that for our spouse too? That's all God's asking us to do, is to give our very best so that way when problems come, that we can face them. And I know there's some situations that are hard and they're difficult, and they're like, well, yeah, I know sometimes your spouse doesn't play fair. I get that. Sometimes I'm on the receiving end of that. I don't play fair. We all go through those moments. But the best thing is we don't have to go through it alone. We have a God that helps us, and He makes it better when you look to Him to help you. So I hope these have helped you. And I hope you have a great day. And my prayer is, and this is my prayer for my family right now, that He would give you a teachable spirit. Hope y'all have a great day. Bye.